Welcome to a special edition of Around the Conference, a weekly Adventist news program with host Pastor Paul Scavala. Today, we have some special information for you about an outstanding, exciting, upcoming event. So with me is my co-host today, events coordinator for the South Bahamas Conference, Patrice Williams Gordon. Isn't it good to be together here on this program today?
Wonderful as always.
So now let's tell them, why are we here today? What are we talking about?
Camp meeting is in the air, and this is probably one of my favorite events to plan for South Bahamas Conference. Camp meeting is that time of the year when we, if I should liken it to a picnic day, it's when the table is spread
Okay.
and the lunch is ready. You've been working and you're about to be refueled. And that's what camp meeting does. And you can invite friends to this picnic as well. So even though it is primarily meant to strengthen, rejuvenate, refuel the membership, we also accept and appreciate when members bring their friends along as well. It's a wonderful time when we bring in speakers, when there are musicians, the music is just great, workshops are wonderful, you learn so much and you leave refueled.
That's good. So, viewers, we are talking about Camp Meeting 2018. It will be on June 24 to June 30th this year at Bahamas Academy under the big tent. It's going to be exciting. I want you to write that down on your calendar. June 24 to June 30th, 2018. And we have lots of things in store for you. And
the theme this year is refreshed
and
revived.
The theme is refreshed and revived. It's the theme for our conference this year, thus the theme for Camp Meeting 2018. And we would like for you to plan your program, your daily program, your vacations, your work time, to be there from 6 p.m. when we begin with meditation. But let's don't go there yet. Let's tell them who will be speaking
Even
at Camp
before we
Meeting.
talk about who is speaking, I'm getting excited already. One of the things I really do enjoy about camp meetings is the fact that I get to see everyone at the same time. You know, not very many people get to visit other churches, and you may meet at a joint every now and again. But for one whole week, I get to see all my friends from all the churches. It's just a major time of fellowship and excitement. The young people are out, usually wearing their t-shirts. There's a lot of buzz around. We buying food and eating right there on spot. You're worshiping, you're praying, you're crying, you're singing, you hugging. I mean, it's just an exciting time. And there are people who actually plan their vacation around camp meetings so that they can be off from work and just have a relaxing day and coming in the nights. I'm looking forward to the time when camp meeting in the Bahamas is residential. You go to one of those family
That's
islands
exciting.
and yes.
So many of you might have been to a general conference session of the Seventh Adventist
That's
Church
what it feels
abroad.
like.
Camp Meet is somewhat like that, you know, and we want to make it more and more like that. Now, as Mrs. Gordon has stated, Camp Meeting is normally around the world, in Africa and Australia and United States and Europe, and it's a camp meeting.
Yes.
You actually go to some place to camp. And so therefore you are away from your job, just like when going to the general conference. Now we, I wouldn't say cannot, we have difficulty. It's not practical for us to do that yet in the Bahamas. But our dream, as you said, is one day have camp meeting on Eleuthera or Andros. And you know, when we did this survey 2 years ago, a small percentage agreed that they would like to see camp meeting on another island.
Yes.
So we all get away, we all travel on the mailboat, or we all travel on the plane, 5,000 of us, 3,000 of us, and we have camp meeting on our islands.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be a good time. But let's come back here. Our speaker for camp meeting is Mark Finley, Pastor Mark Finley, an associate of the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. We watch Mark Finley on television, on Hope TV, a lot. And some of us know him personally. We've met him. I think he might have even visited here before, but he's come in here to speak the entire camp meeting.
Yes.
Every night and on Sabbath. And
Do you know he has done over 150 evangelistic series in
150.
more than in over 80 countries. He has spoken on
Wow.
every continent.
And he's baptized or won to Christ thousands and thousands of
Thousands
people. He's preaching in Africa, he's preaching in Australia, he's preaching in England or Europe, and he's preaching in Wales, he's preached in Caribbean countries.
And I think
all
one
over
of the
place.
reasons for his success is that he seems to appeal to all genres.
Yes.
The youth like him,
Mm-hmm.
the Christians like him, the non-Christians like him. He strikes a note of familiarity with a wide cross-section of people. You just have to listen to him.
Yes. Mark Finley has an in-depth knowledge of the scripture and of history, and he brings them closely together. So let's watch just a minute or two of Mark Finley right now.
There's nothing that you can ever go through that Jesus has not already gone through. The Bible says, "For we do not have a high priest who cannot sympathize with our weakness, but with all points as we are, yet without sin." Since Jesus, the Son of God, became the Son of Man, he understands us better than we understand ourselves. He has come near. He identifies with our needs. He identifies with our weakness. We serve a God who is not far away. We serve a Christ who has come near. He walked the dusty streets of Galilee. He walked the cobblestone streets of Jerusalem. He knows what it's like to be hungry. He knows what it's like to have no place to lay his head. He knows what it's like to be ridiculed and mocked and betrayed. He knows what it's like to physically suffer.
That was so interesting. It's always so refreshing and inspiring to see Mark Finley in action.
And I know you want to be there too. Every night.
Oh, yes.
To
Oh, yes.
listen
Oh, yes. Oh,
and
yes.
be inspired by Pastor Mark Finley. Interesting. We call him Mark Finley.
Mm-hmm.
We call him Pastor Finley. We call him Pastor Mark Finley. And he accepts all of them.
Yes. He's
I
a
found
down-to-earth
him-
person.
Oh, yeah. I remember I was together with him at the South England Conference camp meeting where I spoke in 2012. And we had the joy of eating together every day and sharing a lot of ideas and concepts. And I found him to be quite a genuine person. So you would really be blessed to be at Camp Meeting 2018 here in the South Bahamas Conference with our featured speaker, Pastor Mark Finley. Let's talk a little more.
Another exciting thing about Mark's coming is that I don't think it has happened here for it has never happened for camp meeting here before, that the speaker is accompanied by his wife who is involved
That's
in
right.
the execution of camp meeting. His wife, Ernestine, who we call Steenie,
Oh,
she is an evangelist in her own right. She's very supportive of his ministry, travels the world with him as well, and she does her very own workshops to complement his ministry. She has a passion for healthy living.
That's
So
right.
she has several series that have been on television. She has several cookbooks, several health-related literature that's available. And she is coming to give us more personalized flavor of her seminars. She has done over 250 cooking sessions over the past 40 years.
wow.
So
Wow.
we're going to learn in wet style. We're going to learn some tips, some techniques, and not just the how, but the why of what we do. She has so much to offer. We're going to actually be having her in our workshop sessions so people can have a one-on-one with Ernestine.
But you got that? You got that, viewers? Mrs. Finley, Mark Finley's wife, Ernestine Finley, will be doing one of the workshops at Camp Meeting 2018, a healthy living workshop, one of our specialties. And you'll be able to choose to go to her workshop. There'll be several others. We'll share a few of them in a few minutes. And she may be giving a general lecture to everyone, the plenary session on the
Yes.
opening night. But as you know, at camp meeting, we start with devotion. That's going to be exciting at 6 o'clock. And then we break for 1 hour of a workshop at 6:30. And then we go in the preaching hour with Mark Finley at 7:45. 8 each night. It's going to be exciting. And oh, by the way, I'm just going to give a secret out. We're going to live stream on Facebook, okay? We're keeping it with the in group here, you know.
But you know, I'm sorry. I think this time we are going to prove social media wrong.
Okay.
Only those who absolutely can't make it out will catch it on Facebook. I'm sorry. Because people are going to want to be here in person. There's so much happening at camp meeting that Facebook just can't carry. They can't carry smell just yet.
That's right.
They can't carry feel just
No,
yet.
they can't do that.
So and all the hugs and the testimonies.
Those are the graphics. They don't do it. They don't
no,
cut it.
no,
Okay.
no, no, no.
And I would like you to demonstrate your love for Mark Finley and for the gospel and our faith by coming out, bringing your presence each night. When you go to work in the morning that week, you're going with a filled belly. You would have eaten a good breakfast. You eat a nice lunch, so you wouldn't miss supper. Oh, by the way, talk about that. What's going to happen for lunchtime? We had some good meals last time.
Oh, yes.
We at camp
in the
meeting,
evenings.
Each evening from 5 o'clock, we'll have meals for you. So you can come directly from work, although we're beginning at 6, but meals from 5 o'clock. You come and you can get your meal for camp meeting 2008.
At a cost.
At a cost. Oh, no. Yeah, we have to have a cost for camp meeting 2018. So let's go back to Mrs. Ernestine. Anything you would more like to say about her?
No, I don't want to say anything more about Ernestine. I don't want to give away too much.
Okay.
They'll have to come out for themselves and get
she's
all
just
the
a dear lady.
Listen, we
nice.
won't, and I don't want you to tell them she's a mother too. We'll stop right there.
I've met
okay.
her daughter.
No. We'll stop right there. We'll stop
Okay.
right there. Enough on the Finleys. They're just an awesome couple, and everyone is going to want to come out to meet, to greet, to fellowship, to pray with, and to listen to them for what they have to offer.
So what's next? What's next?
The meetings begin with a dynamic youth-led devotional.
Wonderful.
Every night, as we have done for the past couple of years, we begin the sessions with a devotional, then we go into our workshops, then we come back for our power hour session, which is going to be led by Pastor Finley then. This year, the youth department is in charge, led by Pastor Larry Green. And I know that they are teaming up.
It's going to
so
be
I know
dynamic.
it's going to be a lot of great stuff happening. You don't want to miss it. So the youth will have from 6 o'clock up to 6:30. Then at 6:30, we break for our workshops. Now, last year, many of our workshops were oversubscribed, meaning that we had more people in the room than we could accommodate. It was exciting to see some of the old women who had to shuffle up the stairs.
Could you change that, please? The senior ladies, they were not old.
They went up old. They came back down so energized after doing that that personal defense thing. Listen, you would be no match for them. You just had to stay out of their way because they now knew that if you came into their space, they could defend themselves and how to do it. So yes, we did have that personal defense, self-defense program last year. And by popular demand, we're having it this year again.
Well, let's take a pause here. We're talking about Camp Meeting 2018. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Around the Conference. This is a special edition of Around the Conference. And with me today, again, as I said, is Patrice Williams-Gordon, Events Coordinator of the South Bahamas Conference. I am filling in for Pastor Paul Scavala, the host of Around the Conference. And we're excited to be here because we've been talking about Camp Meeting 2018. And I hope you have written down in your calendar or placed in your smartphone or your iPad that June 24 to 30, 2018, this year, is Camp Meeting 2018 at Bahamas Academy with the theme Refreshed and Revived.
And featured speakers.
The featured speaker is Pastor Mark Finley, every night and on Sabbath. And Mrs. Audrey Wright, the music coordinator, chair of the music committee, they're putting together a dynamic music treat for us at camp meeting.
For the entire week.
For the entire week. And tell us who is the featured guest, soloist, or featured artist at camp meeting 2018.
It's interesting that you should ask me. When my mother heard this lady for the first time, I noticed she was crying. She sat beside me in Hillview Church and she was just moved to tears when this woman just sang and she sang. And when she composed herself, she looked a little annoyed. So the emotions were conflicting to me. I'm wondering, you're moved by the Spirit and you're mad with the Spirit. What's up? She said, you know, I think that woman stole my voice. Because she has more than one person singing talent. She is just so great, you know.
So who's that? Who is that?
The great Alison Mason Roll.
Okay, Alison Mason
She's our
Roll.
featured speaker. She has moved so many people over the place. Within the church, outside the church, for civic occasions, for religious occasions. She is an awesome Christian woman, but a very, very powerful vocalist.
She'll be singing every night. And on Sabbath, our featured guest soloist, Alison Mason Roll. And in addition, many of our local artists and choirs and groups will be singing. It's going to be a wonderful time. There'll be a joint choir, and many of you choir directors, you're going to be asked to have your choir join in this joint 100 and something voice choir for camp meeting 2018. So we're looking forward to that. We will be spiritually high with music and good
and the
preaching.
music is not only going to be someone singing to me. The music at camp meeting involves my singing along in the praise and worship. That's a high point for camp meetings. It's my actual participation as a congregation member in the music.
Yes. Wonderful. So let's go back. Let's go back to some of the features and the workshops. We know we're having a cooking class.
Yes.
Or cooking or healthy living class by Ernestine Finley, Pastor Mark Finley's wife. We will have
or self-defense.
Our self-defense by Randy
Johnson. That's right.
Randy Johnson has actually developed his own technique.
His own curriculum, actually.
His own curriculum that is now going
Christian
around
based.
the world on karate or whatever he calls it.
Martial arts.
Martial arts.
With a Christian
that
flavor.
has eliminated some of the extreme, because when you go deep into martial arts, it starts to bring in some things that do not go well with our teachings. And so he's done that, and he has been well received last camp meeting. He'll be back this camp meeting.
Yes.
And we have Mrs. Mark Finley. And then we have another one, the Stand.
The Stand.
Could you tell them this workshop called Stand, what is the meaning of that acronym?
STAND, Strengthening Today's Apologists by Nurturing a Defense.
And what is that all about?
Really, what we're saying is our young people, both those preparing for college and those who have just entered college and those who are in college, they're today meeting face to face, eyeball to eyeball, issues that challenge their faith. Why do they believe what they believe? And sometimes we take it for granted that because our young people are brought up in Christian homes, they know why they believe what they believe. In these sessions, we have qualified individuals who come in who have studied and who are learned in different areas and who have been in the field of nurturing young people for this very reason and wider. They will be, they present to our young people in an environment that allows them to be comfortable, to ask questions that they would probably not be so comfortable asking in a Bible class, but questions that they will face when they get on the outside. Things that challenge who God is. Last year was very, very wonderful with Lael Caesar, who answered questions like, why do good things happen to bad people? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Why do good things happen to bad people? But more importantly, why do bad things happen to good people?
No, why do bad people have good things?
Is God mean?
Yeah.
You know, And it was very, very, very insightful. This year we have Jay Verley Pottinger, the vice principal for the Pine Forge Academy in Pennsylvania.
The vice principal for the Pine Forge Academy
Yes.
in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Ivy League Seventh Adventist Boarding
yes,
Academy.
Yes, yes.
Where you have one of the greatest choirs coming
Yes,
from.
yes.
Okay.
Actually, a feed choir for Oakwood.
Yes.
But he is coming in to be with us, but his presence with us this year is going to be more than just a conference. So I want all the young people to start getting their questions together. As a matter of fact, we will be creating a Facebook page that will allow you to communicate with the presenter before he gets here, so that you can feed some of the areas that you have preference in touching. So our young people need to take advantage of this from now, so you can get to know your stand presenter before he gets here, and you can have your questions answered when you come. But in addition to the stand conference, he will also be impacting the community. So he will be going to special, I won't call any names right now, but he will be visiting special facilities to offer his services from our perspective to our young people who need our help.
So did you get that, viewers? A special guest doing one of the workshops to target our 20-somethings and late teens,
Yes.
young people, would be the vice principal for Pine Forge Academy. His name is Pottinger.
Jay Verley
Jay
Pottinger.
Verley Pottinger. So he'll be dealing with topics to help you know how to defend why you believe
what you
believe. And you can help direct that session by asking your specific question. That is
The
a 1
stand
hour
conference,
each session,
yes.
each day, 1 hour each day for 5 days. So it's 4 days. It's going to be wonderful. And so as we plan and continue to prepare for Camp Meeting 2018, we want you to pray that everything will move smoothly, and that those preparing, God will help them as they prepare, and that you may be blessed during that particular day, week of Camp Meeting 2018. Let's remind them the theme for Camp Meeting 2018 is refreshed
and revived.
And the speaker is Mark Finley. And we got to, before we go offline, we have to let them hear a couple more seconds of Mark Finley. We're going to soon do that. But you're going to say something.
Yes, because there are at least 2 other new features that are added this year.
Yes.
This year, we're adding a room. Take off your shoes. Do you remember Moses? When God told him, take off your shoes from off your feet. This room will allow you to focus on the presence of God in a way that you've never done so before. It's a room that will stimulate creative, personal Bible study and meditation. You don't want to miss that opportunity.
When will that room be available?
That room is going to be available from 5 o'clock in the evening. So if they want to come in before,
it's a meditation
room, but it's not just your ordinary meditation room. Their children can use that room, but it is not a mother's room. Children who want to learn how to study their Bible, how to enjoy their Bible, there will be activities for them to participate in. There'll be no one actually speaking there, but there will be stations set up that will help you to enjoy your time with God. And yes, you will literally have to take your shoes from off your feet, but the ground's going to be carpeted, so you'll be happy.
So what's the other groom?
The other exciting addition is the
It's called a time where we meet afterwards, I think.
The afterglow.
It's called afterglow.
I was just figuring if you remembered. It's the afterglow experience.
Mm-hmm.
And the afterglow experience is meant to nurture or to tarry or to solidify commitments, spiritual commitments that you may have done throughout the day.
So it's an actual room you can go to for 20 minutes
immediately after the service is finished. A very cozy environment where those who wish to, not everybody, but those who wish to, will come together and just for 20 minutes, just thank God for their spiritual experience of the day, probably share 1 or 2 experiences that they may have had, or points that they have taken from the sermon, or commitments that they want to make. And we will have some special individuals visiting that room each night as well. So you don't want to miss the afterglow experience. That is optional. Once the meeting is over, you're free to go, but you're also invited to this extra special experience.
So you have been viewing us for the past almost 30 minutes. We've been talking about Camp Meeting 2018. We want you to plan your time, your calendar, your vacation to join us on June 24th to June 30th at Bahamas Academy for Camp Meeting 2018. Our featured speaker is Pastor Mark Finley. Let's end with just a few more seconds of him preaching.
We do not preach the word and share the living Christ to give people their only chance. They may see a revelation of God in the sky. They may be honest in their heart. We do not share the gospel to give them their only chance. We share the gospel to give them their best chance. Because the clearest revelation of God's love, the clearest revelation of His grace, the clearest revelation of His truth is found in the Word of God. And love compels us to give our friends, our neighbors, our loved ones, love compels us to give every village and every city the best opportunity to know Christ. That's why Seventh-day Adventists send missionaries around the world. That's why these missionaries traverse desert sands. That's why they climb mountain paths. Because we have a passion. We Adventists believe that we are a God-divine movement, a movement of destiny to share an everlasting gospel of end-time truth to the world. So we are compelled by our love for Christ, compelled by our sense of the lostness of humanity. We are compelled to go to every home, to go to every street, to go to every village, to go to every city, to go to every community, to share Christ with our friends, our neighbors, our villages, our towns, our cities. What do you say, church?
Thank you so much for watching Around the Conference. I'm Barrington Brennan with Patrice Williams Gordon. May you have a good time.